ब्रो पांडे तो एकदम नेक्स्ट लेवल पॉडकास्ट लग रहा है ब्रो, ऐसे लग रहा है पॉडकास्ट उसका है।
ब्रो भाई का स्वैग।
भाई का स्वैग देख रहे हो, मतलब पैक बना के आए हैं।
यस यस, चलो कोई बात
भाई
नहीं,
थम्स अप पी रहा हूँ यार, ऐसे मत बोल।
कोई बात नहीं, कोई बात
ओके
नहीं।
वेट,
Nice.
व्हाट्स द सीन?
Nothing, we'll just continue whatever we are talking.
हाँ ठीक है ठीक है।
Yeah,
I will see
and
about
We
the
can
live
upload it to
streaming
YouTube,
later.
dude.
हम्म?
Like edit करके थोड़ा सा ना इसको YouTube पे डाल सकते हैं, मस्त।
हाँ ओके,
हाँ,
that
डालते हैं।
was essentially the goal.
So
Right.
basically,
Okay,
Riverside
let's just pick up. हाँ
Yeah, so basically Riverside FM records locally from your camera, and it will upload at the end, syncing everything together as one
In
video.
chunks. Nice.
Okay, तो इसका सब्सक्रिप्शन लिया है तो कुछ
सही।
तो यूज में आए, so I was like,
यूज करना पड़ेगा। नहीं भाई, सेम विद दिस माइक ब्रो।
so we are doing
1.5 साल बाद बाहर निकाला है, बड़ा खुश हूं मैं।
सही है सही है। Okay,
nice.
okay. Let me get everyone back on the same page.
Yes.
ठीक है?
Yes.
पहले तो हम okay, let's set some house rules. Okay, housekeeping rules. We will have all sorts of profanity. वैसे सौरभ का चैनल है, so he should be setting the housekeeping rules.
नहीं कोई बात नहीं, कुछ गया नहीं
Yeah.
है उसमें।
ठीक है, डिमोनेटाइज हो जाएगा तो
ठीक है,
चलेगा।
भाई गाली गलौज
हाँ,
होगी।
ठीक है, तो we try to keep it gentlemanly as we all are gentlemen here.
बोल fucking shit।
Was expecting that. Anyway, हाँ तो let's get on with it. चलो तो profanity is chill, but we'll try to keep it mostly English so that we reach a larger audience. Yeah.
Of course.
And yeah, I guess that's
जो भी
about
मन
it.
करे
And
वो बात करते हैं यार. There is nothing. It's telling upcoming 5th March 8:50 p.m. So it should be live now. Why isn't it live? Why is it telling waiting for Saurav? I'm not understanding this.
ब्रो तूने लॉग इन कर रखा
हाँ,
है?
हाँ,
login
that's why it's
bro.
saying it synced the live stream part, but it didn't sync the content.
ये मालूम नहीं पड़ रहा मुझे.
चरस का नशा गाइस, चरस का नशा। Bro, this is the quality engineering we were talking about.
Yeah. Let's not even. Anyway, let's just record it and let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
And,
अभी start
okay.
करते हैं. Then
Wait, so
I think,
if it's recording, does it not
just
save a
give me
copy?
minute. It does. It does. It does. Yeah.
It saves a copy. हाँ ठीक है, फिर ठीक है ना, फिर it doesn't matter.
Yeah. ये क्यों लाइव क्यों नहीं जा रहा है यार?
मैं अपने Amazon के पैकेजेस सब तक ट्रैक कर रहा हूँ।
नहीं, मैं ये देख रहा हूँ कि ये
कहाँ पहुंचे?
स्ट्रीम क्यों नहीं हो रहा है. That is all. और should I?
भाई एक और लिंक बना के भेज देना।
हाँ वही मैं करता हूँ, रुक जा, इसको डिलीट करता हूँ.
अरे ट्विच पे करते हैं ना, सीधा स्क्वाड स्ट्रीम है अब तो।
वेट.
ब्रो ट्विच मुझे पता नहीं कैसे यूज करते
अरे
हैं।
कुछ
Even I
खास
don't-
थोड़ी है।
Even I don't
No,
know.
I'm just trying to look at if we can do it without Riverside. No offense Riverside, but तुम चल नहीं रहे हो तो हम क्या कर सकते हैं?
Yeah, just give me a second.
Let's see.
So this.
You guys have a Twitch account or not?
Bro, I've heard of it. I've never really created. Like I see a lot of people doing bullshit on it, but I haven't really had the
Yeah,
opportunity
same.
of creating one. Like the intent.
कौन सा क्या? Twitch.
Twitch.
Twitch
Okay.
account.
Live. Yeah, we can do.
तूने क्या ब्रो ये स्टैंडर्ड इंडिविजुअल क्रिएटर्स वाला उठा रखा है?
हाँ. वो 5 घंटा दे रहा है. Okay. If we are able to speak even for 1 hour, पैसा वसूल हो जाएगा.
ओ बेहतरीन। इसको हम लोग प्रेजेंट कहाँ करें? Like randomly people will join this award.
Yeah. It
I
will
think
be
it's on
there.
Saurav's YouTube channel.
Yeah, it will be there.
तो भाई थोड़ी सी आवाज मचाते हैं यार इसके बारे में।
Okay, we are live.
That's what I
I
was
think we are live.
Okay, then this has been
Does it
very
say we're
embarrassing
live anywhere?
because we've been going on about if we're live or not for 10 minutes.
Bro, ये सबका
But
सबका
it
same
does
है
it
bro.
save your live anywhere?
Wait, I'll share the link.
क्या?
Done. Okay, done. Okay, I think we are sorted. I think we are good. Waiting for Saurav again.
Okay.
Cool. इसका लिंक मैं शेयर करता हूँ अब. इधर ही चैट में शेयर कर रहा हूँ.
अच्छा, नया लिंक है?
हाँ.
ओके.
आई थिंक सो. देखो.
नहीं, अलग लिंक है भाई.
अलग लिंक है.
हाँ तो अलग लिंक ज्वाइन कर लेते हैं कोई ना.
नहीं, ज्वाइन करने की बात नहीं
रहना
है.
है. तुमको तो इधर ही रहना है भाई. तुमको तो इधर ही रहना है. तुम कहीं मत जाओ. वो लोग तो ये करना होगा तो. एनीवेज वी आर रिकॉर्डिंग इट ना, तो अभी स्टार्ट कर देंगे.
हाँ, ये रिकॉर्डिंग. ठीक है. ये पार्ट हम हटा देंगे कन्वीनियंटली.
हाँ, कट हो जाएगा.
Anyway, ठीक है. Let's
start.
let's set everyone back on the context.
Yes.
Yeah, let's start. Let's start properly this time.
Yeah.
Okay. Just a revision: house rules, profanity, and mostly English. But Saurav disagrees, so let's keep it with Saurav. Any
Yes.
language is fine.
Any languages.
Moving on. The context of the conversation so far was it began with startups, and that's what we were primarily discussing. That's where we all met. We were working at the same company, and we discussed how there are various kinds of startups that we have experienced or encountered, right? And there are startups that are zero sum versus startups that are driving social change. Startups that are trying to, not startups in the traditional sense, maybe companies like Zoho, or maybe companies like, we discussed even TCS with Infosys doing things like getting an entire generation of engineers to work on something itself is a huge accomplishment, and that's what we were discussing. And led down the path of where Saurabh was trying to tell us about his own realization of what he wants to do in the next 5, 10, 15 years, where he wants to be one of those people who's, catalyzing this long-term social change, right? And that's where Pandey, myself, and Saurav got into this lively discussion about what kind of startups and what kind of founders would actually bring about such kind of long-term social change, wherein people are elevated to a certain way of living, not a standard of living, but a way of living where they pursue excellence in what they do, and they have a different mindset, not a zero-sum mindset, but a positive-sum mindset towards life and towards everything they approach. So,
Yeah.
if you have anything to add, please feel free.
Yeah, so basically, like I want to give one example which comes to my mind. मालूम नहीं कितना सही है, कितना right है, कितना wrong है. But when
अरे बोल यार, सोच इतना रहे.
but ये जो when Ford car started ना, the Ford car का factory started, Model T, if you remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Model T was created, cars were luxury, right? Like only folks who can, who had like shit ton of money could buy cars. But when Henry Ford created a Model T, it was the most cheapest affordable car. Okay, and he wanted every one of the factory workers in his factory to envision a time when they could buy that car. So that was his goal. He wanted it to be cheap, and he wanted all his workers to drive those cars and come to the factory. He wanted every human out there to drive his car. Okay. So उसमें ये था कि he also thought कि हाँ, everyone, if someone as simple as my factory workers can afford this, means now there is वो chain है उस चीज का. Okay. And economy will get developed and built. And that was one very positive, I feel, a great example, okay, where it was people first problem approach. Ki I want to do this at scale. I want to help maximum amount of, I want to touch maximum amount of life. And बस वही था, मतलब I feel कि someone who cracks the code to understand humans ना, मतलब जो who can drive masses to do solve a problem, okay, वो बनना है यार, मतलब वही बनना है मुझे बस। और उसके लिए अभी बहुत काम है, ओके।
जानते
या पंडे बता।
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can.
यार गाइस एक सेकंड, सो जो YouTube वाली लिंक है ब्रो, उस पे तो लिख रहा है यार वेटिंग फॉर
अरे वो छोड़ दे
we'll
यार,
figure it out later.
छोड़ दे वो, छोड़ दे। लेट्स टॉक, रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है इसका, मैं
अच्छा,
वीडियो लेकर मैं कट कर
तो यार
वो YouTube पे डाल दूंगा।
अरे भाई तू भाई को भेज ब्रो। मैंने प्रीमियर प्रो खरीद रखा है भाई, मैं काम थोड़ा सा यूज करूंगा। यार नहीं, सो यार मैंने बहुत खरीद रखी है यार बकवास चीजें। आई एम नॉट इवन किडिंग डूड। I'll give you a house tour sometime. I'll show you something. I bought this horse shit. You know what this is?
What is that?
I'm creating a server rack.
Hey, that's fun. Okay, fuck it.
It's a lot of fun, dude.
Yeah.
No, but coming back to what Saurabh was saying, yeah, I think so. One of the counter examples you can think of the situation you gave right now is going to be something along the lines of, like, let's say hospitals during the COVID crisis, right? And I'm not saying every hospital did this, but coming from the healthcare industry, having parents who, of course, you know, are doctors, have bloody had COVID for some bloody reason. What I saw was ki going and doing things for the greater good very quickly and very abruptly changed into doing whatever we want just to, like, you know, extract the last paisa from that family, from that person, from that human being, from that soul, essentially, right? The problem becomes that how do you ensure that someone stays on that path of continuously giving to the community, right? Without thinking about profit. Like, see, अभी दुनिया को क्या चला पैसा, ठीक है? तो तुम किसी के जहन से ये कैसे निकाल सकते हो कि तू अपने काम के बारे में सोच, राइट? पैसे की जो भड़ास है वो हम पे छोड़ दे। You get my point? How do you separate a financial motive from something which is genuinely giving back to the community?
Yeah.
I remember.
Right.
इसमें when you're talking about this ना, I remember Nawal का podcast, okay, with Jay Rogan का Rogan podcast में वो आया था. He told कि until that point of time ना,
इसको गांजा फूकते हैं?
हाँ? वो तो एलन मस्क
इसको
किया था
गांजा
भाई,
फूकते हैं?
वो एलन मस्क किया था। वो एलन मस्क किया था।
I'm sorry.
So he tells this thing कि I was very in conflict between capitalism and socialism, right? Like in socialism, you're thinking कि everyone should get everything, okay? And when in capitalism, winner gets everything. And that was the point. At that point of time in my life, I was in a very deep conflict कि which route, what is more resonating to me. And I knew the power of money, okay? I knew the power of and also I knew the importance of socialism, like where it comes from. But when, you know, Nawal tells something like this, ki yaar, everyone can be a millionaire and everyone is going to be millionaire. And that's how we are going to solve the problem of inequality. That's how we are going to solve issues of money. So I feel ki genuinely, I'm telling you, when I come, matlab my parents natively are from Bihar. Okay, I'm born and brought up in Bangalore. When you talk about UP and Bihar, okay, Pandey knows this as well, ki not a single soul knows how they are going to make 1 lakh a month. They don't know. क्या सीखें, क्या करें?
1 लाख तो यार मतलब
Yeah, that's what I'm telling. And for same thing, you take the same age group or even go 15 years, 16 years, 17 years down the line. मतलब एक बच्चे को उठाओ 16-17 साल का बैंगलोर का बच्चे को, okay, who has been brought up here. He will know how to make 1 lakh a month immediately. It is just this, you know, ये जो सर्कल जो बना है ना कि ये होप ही नहीं है कि भाई हम 1 लाख रुपए पर मंथ नहीं कमा सकते। मतलब वो ब्रेक होना है Okay.
यार वो ब्रेक होना है, ठीक है, बट
How?
तुम 2-4 चीजें फैक्टर इन करो, ठीक है, कि तुम पहला तो जो फैक्टर इन तुम्हें करना पड़ेगा यार वो ये है कि जिस आदमी से तुम बात कर रहे हो, हुज जिसका 16-17 साल का लौंडा बोल रहा है कि भाई आई एम एबल टू अर्न एक्स अमाउंट ऑफ मनी अ मंथ, द क्वेश्चन बिकम्स, वन, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ बैकग्राउंड डज ही हैव, एंड टू, व्हाट कैन ही डू. I'll give you a very simple example of this. You look at, again, not to shit on anyone, but I mean, just to be like brutally honest, what I understand. You look at something which is slightly specialized. You look at something like engineering, right? Look at something like, I mean, that's the best example I can give, of course, personally. So look at something like software engineering, right? ठीक है. You're fresh out of college. तूने 2-4 चीजें सीख रखी हैं, you know algorithms, you know how to clear interviews. You are able to earn on average, let's say, around 1 lakh a month. ठीक है. More if you sort of branch out into consultancy and side gigs and all of that shit. Then you compare some other function. You compare something like, let's say, HR. You compare something like, let's say, operations, sales, marketing, right? Can you definitively say कि when you put all of these at the same level, right? Like, let's say there is person X, Y, and Z, each of whom have a specialization in each one of these verticals. Can you definitively say that they'll earn the same amount when they start? You can't, right? Why is that? Right? That is where I feel कि that's the वीकेस्ट साइड ऑफ द आर्ग्यूमेंट. यार ठीक है, बैंगलोर में भाई बंदा, अब वही बात हो जाती है कि भाई लोग इंजीनियर, लॉयर, डॉक्टर, ये सारी चीजें क्यों, सिविल इंजीनियर, वॉट एवर बनना क्यों चाहते हैं? बिकॉज उन्होंने देख रखा है कि भाई सदियों की कहानी है, इतिहास के पन्नों में पत्थरों पे लिखा हुआ है कि इफ यू आर एन इंजीनियर, अ डॉक्टर, अ लॉयर, essentially or someone who does like mental labor, मानसिक श्रम, you're able to earn good money, right? And this is, again, it then becomes a zero sum game. What you said a while back, right? कि भाई मुझे इसी चीज में जाना है बिकॉज मुझे निचोड़ना है अपने आप को या फिर किसी और को, जो भी तुम्हारी भाई निवृत्ति होगी वहां पर तो कुछ बहस नहीं करी जा सकती है. But you get what I'm trying to say?
I'll probably like add a little nuance to that, right? It's not about inherently, that's not when it becomes a zero sum game. It's not about if a software engineer and a sales person makes the same at the same level. It's also about, why is that? Because every company decides your compensation based on the expected amount of revenue or anything you generate, right?
Yeah.
Your market net worth as a salaried individual is highly dependent on the market net worth of your work, right? And that inherently stems from the fact that society by itself is capitalistic, winner takes all. Right? So it's not about the zero sum doesn't start from there. Zero sum starts from...
No, I'm not saying it starts from there. I'm saying this is something which adds to it. Right? This is something which... see, I'm not saying that this is the genesis of zero sum. Right? I'm not saying कि जीरो सम की जो सोच है उसका आगाज यहां से होता है. मेरे कहने का मतलब है कि ये वो चीजें हैं, these are those factors like ancillary factors we talk about, right? These are those factors which add fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
Right? Which have that sort of recursive effect in themselves. कि भाई मुझे ये करना है क्योंकि मैंने देखा था. Right? A similar static argument can be, dude, there are two schools of thought. One, I don't want to do the harm I endured myself, and two, if I went through it, you should go through it. Right? It is, I mean, not the same, but it is to a certain extent formally similar. Right? You get what I'm trying to say? Ki this is what adds fuel to the fire. This is what encourages people ki this is something you should look towards.
No, see, I'll tell you no.
ठीक है, शर्मा जी के बेटे की बात हो रही है बेसिकली. ठीक है,
एक
मेरे कहने का ये मतलब है.
गॉड ये मेरे माइंड में एक चीज आया बात हाँ चैतन्य तुम बोलो I'll tell you this
Yeah, like I was thinking.
हाँ,
because-
sorry.
Yeah, because the essential question where we kind of digressed a little bit from was that how do you cultivate people to, or how do you separate people from that financial motive, right? Wherein they can focus and they can put their mindset to a mindset of excellence and mindset of work as opposed to chasing that financial motive, right? That's where we started this discussion
Yeah.
from.
yeah
And I'll tell you, based on as little as I know, it's not about studies have shown this. After a certain income level, your happiness does not correlate to your income at all.
yeah
Once your basic needs are met, once you have certain luxuries of life,
Marginal
yeah,
utility, right?
marginal utility, right? So finance. So the factor then becomes, if you, and again bringing the Naval thing, right? If everyone is a millionaire, then what's the issue? Is that very different from a socialist society?
yeah
But the fact becomes key. How do you get people to that, right? How do you get to a point where everyone is at that level? You start with building that long-term social change
Yeah.
by taking the three people who have that drive to do better, right? Take them under your wing and then show them how you do it, show them how it's done, right? And then tell them, "Ki bro,
बेसिकली जय हो मूवी का जो पूरा मकसद था कि
essentially,
तीन लोगों में बांटो
जय
आगे
हो,
बढ़े
You know,
और, which one was that? अक्षय कुमार movie,
यार ये
गब्बर.
चैतन्य इसका ना बहुत बेस्ट एग्जांपल
गब्बर.
अभी है ओके देयर इज वन गुड एग्जांपल इन आवर ओन स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम दैट इज पेस्टो टेक ओके देयर इज अ कंपनी कॉल्ड पेस्टो ओके पेस्टो टेक मालूम होगा पांडे
या
या तो उनका सिंपल सा है
Yeah.
कि दे विल हेल्प यू स्किल अप मतलब दे टेक पीपल विद 2 to 3 years of experience and they'll get you to a somewhere advanced level and they'll help you get recruited for making more than 100K or maybe around 50K above okay so they just want the per capita income you know like of a software engineer okay to not
increase.
be 3.5 lakh
यार
okay and they want to pick the people who know
yeah wait when you said 100K did you mean like USD
No.
USD
100K rupees per month.
and
Oh,
they
USD. Oh,
the founder posted this on Twitter telling that ki I don't remember the exact number but they made close to what 5 to 10 million in a year like all the combined student okay who jo bhi graduate
Yeah.
okay and that's insane amount of money sitting in India right like this is at a very small scale right like this is matlab, he is very picky about wo cohorts are very small okay the cohort goals are very specific I don't know how the things work I haven't spoken to anyone who has come out of it but यार ये बहुत सही लगता है मुझे मतलब अगर तुम पूछोगे कि कैसे हो सकता है ये ऐसे हो सकता है लाइक टुडे आज का दुनिया में अगर तुम एग्जांपल पूछोगे दिस इज वन ग्रेट एग्जांपल आई फील समवेयर इट आंसर्स दिस क्वेश्चन कि कैसे पहुंच सकते हैं
यार मैं तुम्हें ऐसा काउंटर आई मीन लाइक आई एम सॉरी फॉर बीइंग लाइक वेरी नेगेटिव थ्रूआउट दिस एंटायर डिस्कशन बट जिंदगी ने ऐसा बना
Yeah, I
दिया
know,
बट I'll give you a counter example to Pesto. ठीक है, so now what Pesto is doing is absolutely fantastic. ठीक है, I would say if you look at like you know we talk about creating happy communities, we talk about workplaces where people want to work, right? In my professional life, right, which I can very proudly say has spanned over a decade, by the way, guys. I have met only 2 companies till now where I can positively, absolutely from my heart say कि dude, मैं इस कंपनी के लिए अगर मुझे कुछ भी करना रहा मैं करूं ठीक है मेरे कहने का जो बड़ा
तात्पर्य.
पहलू है वो क्या है कि हाँ आई मीन मतलब मेरे कहने का मेरे इस पूरी बात का सार क्या है
Yeah.
इसकी if you look at like, see, Pesto Tech, I'll give you a similar example of something called Spring Roll, right? Spring Roll Technologies in Bangalore. These guys are doing fantastic fucking work. Yeah. I mean, you look at the culture, you look at the people, you talk to them, and you're like, भाई मतलब बेहतरीन प्रदर्शन किया है तुमने टेक का, ठीक है? Like in all angles, right? अब जो बना रहे हैं, they do background verification, they do some Slack bot का automation and all of that crap. Background verification I've personally used, fantastic, lot of fun. खुद को डाल के देखो, मजा आता है. But the point essentially being what you do, these guys are creating something which is essentially like, let's say the top 1% of what exists, ठीक है? इसमें अब एक और चीज आती है. I'll give you a counter example to this very argument. Have you heard of Lambda School?
सुना है.
Right?
वो
Do you know the
उसका तो पूरा
the
एक सीजन
entire
था यार. उसका तो पूरा एक सीजन था ऑफ दैट, कुछ तो है
Right, देख.
अग्रीमेंट साइन करते हैं एंड यू नो
Yes, income share agreement, ISAs. ठीक है, तो अब भाई देख, हम लोग जब स्टार्टअप में होते हैं, हम लोग एक चीज के बारे में बहुत बात करते हैं, डू यू हैव स्किन इन द गेम? ठीक है, लाइक भाई मैं तो अपनी चमड़ी उधेड़ के तुझे दे दूंगा, लाइक लोगों को ऐसे लगता है, बट नहीं. Do you have skin in the game? And I think so. A lot of ISAs essentially try to show you that, ki, dude, we will get you to a level, right? We have to rather get you to a level to make any revenue from you, right? Because otherwise हमारी cost of acquisition बहुत high होगी, हम लोग को VC से पैसा नहीं मिलेगा. Where you earn something and we can take a certain share, right? Then we get into the philosophical argument of a good deed is truly ever selfless.
I know.
Right. Right. अब मैं लैम्डा स्कूल का एग्जांपल तुम लोगों को मैंने क्यों दिया? बिकॉज यार देखो, तुम लैम्डा स्कूल को देखो, you see what they're doing. They have great branding. They have a great everything, right? The quality they're putting out, absolute fucking horrendous. I can say this right now. I've interviewed engineers from lambda school. Right. Or rather, I mean, it's a boot camp, some alumni I would call them from Lambda School. I've had conversations with people who attended Lambda School in person, I think so they were doing a while ago. Absolute horseshit. Another example I can give you, which is sort of online with what you said about building excellence, is going to be Recurse Center. Does anyone know about it?
You told me about it.
Right. Yeah. It's fantastic. Right. It's brilliant. And I think so. The guy right now for me is the chief, or rather the ex-cryptographer, Mr. Scotchy. I'm sorry if I'm misgendering him or whatever. But you look at the kind of work he's done, you look at Aage, you look at all the tools he has built, you look at the kind of support you have in Recurse Center, and it's completely not for profit. Like, I don't understand. मतलब उसमें हम लोग ज्यादा कुछ पे नहीं करना होता. ठीक है, तुम जाओ भाई, टिकट बुक कर लो, अपनी न्यूयॉर्क में रहो, मस्ती मारो. ठीक है, you sit with like-minded people, you build something. Yeah. The problem becomes how sustainable is that in an economy like India? मैं धनिया खरीदने जाता हूँ, मैं अपने बंदे से बोलता हूँ मैं धनिया फ्री में, तो उससे मैंने 145 रुपए की सब्जियां खरीदी. ठीक, how do we translate that into something which is a little larger in sense? You get where my entire thing is coming from, right? My not negativity, but rather what I have personally seen.
Skepticism.
Yeah, I didn't.
Skepticism.
नहीं, मतलब मैं I was just talking about like the side where they created high income worth employment. Okay. And the part,
absolutely,
the part of income sharing and how they are going to make money, that is a different side. Like, I'm not talking about that end. I'm talking if they could do that, okay, anyone else can do that as well. Okay. And you know, in coming time, I think it's only going to get bigger. Okay. And यही बात है. One another aspect, like, फिर ये आ जाता है ना, Zoho is a very good example उस तरफ में, like on the other side of the spectrum, right? Like somewhere कि they know कि हाँ हमें इतना employment create करना है, and the founder has stuck to the tier 2, tier 3 city and has told their employees, if you're coming from somewhere, please go back and do your work from there. Okay, because they are completely tech, completely SaaS. Okay, जो भी है. And The thing here is कि इसमें एक बंदा जो सिक्योरिटी गार्ड का काम करने वाला था जोहो का ऑफिस में, he has ended up becoming a software developer. Like that was the story which went viral over Twitter last year. Okay, when Zoho finished 25 years of running the company. Okay, and that's insane. Running some show for 25 years. Okay, and like recently यही आया ना कि $1 billion they are making revenue or something like that, like every year. So that was the revenue they are generating, and I'm like, insane. That's another great example, man. Like I feel कि somewhere that कि हाँ हमें पैसा बनाना है, but at what cost? Okay, people need XYZ. Let's fulfill that XYZ and tell them कि hey, you will have stake in the game. We are a profitable company. We are making X amount of money. Okay, take shares. Okay, but you need only this much to be happy. Okay. And this needs to get translated. And also this, मैं उस टाइम हंसा इस बात पे ना कि if a person, मतलब ये सदगुरु का ये था इसका वीडियो में, he told this कि like if person is not at peace within, the world is not going to be peace outside. Okay, तो to come to that part कि हाँ मुझे इतना ही चाहिए, it takes a while. It takes some time, it takes some experience, and it takes a life has to come to that convergence. Like unka life और unka personal soul somewhere has to come to a convergence somewhere. वो point पे कि लगेगा कि हाँ भाई इतना पैसा कमा लिया तो ठीक है, अब इसके ऊपर क्या चाहिए? Okay.
बहुत है
Yeah.
नहीं है
यार.
go ahead.
I mean, I don't agree with that completely.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you look at the income divide in India.
Yeah.
ठीक है. You look at someone who's as privileged as we.
Yeah.
Right. And then you compare it to someone who is like, let's say, a little below in the strata. Right. हमारे दिमाग में है कि भाई the mere ability, the mere fact that we're able to think of these psychological tangents कि how this might make us feel is privilege in itself. ठीक है. हमारे पास है कि हाँ भाई हम लोग 2 लाख कमा रहे हैं, 10 लाख कमा रहे हैं, भाई बहुत है यार, ठीक है, मुझे इसके आगे नहीं करना, मैंने बहुत कर लिया. Fair enough. You look at someone who's like, let's say, supporting a family of 10 is getting like 20,000 after like working 10 hours a day. ठीक है, physically. You look at a sweeper, you look at a janitor, you look at all of that. Right? What do you say to them? कि जितना कमा रहे हो बहुत है. How do you convince them of this fact that there has to be some form of tranquility about what you get, some solace in what you're receiving?
No, I don't think it's about like. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Saurav, I think so.
Yeah, I think he's stuck.
Your
He just
internet
messaged me.
is gone.
He just messaged me on WhatsApp. I dropped off. Oh, damn.
Same.
What do we do now? The technical difficulties will not end today. Oh, he's back. No worries. Pandey was mentioning...
Huge lag in your audio, bro.
Huge?
Huge lag in your audio, bro.
I think it's much better than before.
Achha.
Though. Your video is way better.
It's very crisp.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, it's recording locally, so that's... Yeah, I get that. But, like, at least for our experience, it's better, so... Anyway, so yeah, Pandey was basically mentioning how... Oh, damn.
No, it says recording.
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah, it's not enabled on you.
What does that mean?
Like, इसके ऊपर वो recording का
इसके
symbol नहीं
ऊपर
आ रहा,
recording
that
का symbol
red
नहीं आ
dot.
So me and Pandey just be casually talking to some guy who's not even on the camera and he left again.
भाग गया, Rolanda. इसीलिए फिलोसफी नहीं लेनी चाहिए भाई कॉलेज में.
I don't know, dude. This would have been a fun podcast if we were like in the same room or something, just chilling.
तो करते हैं ना.
Bro, आजा bro. सौरभ भी दुबई प्लान बना रहा है. तू भी आजा.
कब?
पता नहीं, मैंने उसको बोला वैसे अक्टूबर में आ. विंटर जब स्टार्ट होगी. He wants to stay for like.
भाई आए तो आई मीन लाइक आई हैव लाइक अब मैं अगर कुछ बोलने लग जाऊंगा फिर वो पर्सनल कॉन्वर्सेशन में आ जाएगा. बट
लाइट बाद में बात करेंगे.
होल्ड अप. हाँ.
I don't think you can pause the recording in this.
नो यू कांट. 35 मिनट से हम लोग भौंक रहे हैं. फकिंग हेल वी आर फ्री डू.
That's the best part about being an engineer. Like you are just too free in life. Just
यार आई एम जस्ट कमिंग इन 1 सेकंड डू. रुक जाओ.
Saurav is back. Awesome. Okay, yeah. So Pandey
Yep.
is gonna be back in a minute. But
Okay, ठीक है.
what you basically missed was, I think Pandey basically misunderstood your point about the solace part, like the convincing someone that you know what they're making is enough by giving the counter example of how do you.
अरे वो कंटिन्यू करते हैं ना, वो बताने दो उसको.
नहीं, उसका पॉइंट खत्म हो गया. By the time he finished, he realized कि you're not there only. I was like, oh lol.
Okay.
अब by the time we realized कि you're not there and you messaged, I was going to start talking. I'll just wait for him to come back. This is going to be such a disorganized live stream, bro. Not even lying.
अरे ये लाइव स्ट्रीम होने ही वाला नहीं है, मतलब ये लाइव हो ही नहीं रहा है. We are going to anyways record and edit it and I'll post it.
Yeah, cool. Thank God I did not tweet about this.
Very hacky podcast.
But yeah, it's a lot more than. I don't know if you know about the foundation. Like I had this very, very long-term, very ambitious vision for an almost like entirely different planet. Like, you know, like a planet where everyone in the world, you know, they're able to do what their life's work is. And somehow I find what you're saying is highly resonating with me because it is actually essentially that, but at a more realistic scale, you know?
Yeah.
Like a little more realistic. Like
Yeah.
essentially how do you enable people to, okay, like what are the steps? If because I thought about this a lot. I thought about this for like years. And the steps I was able to come up with were basically you need people to figure out what it is that they want to do. Right? Uske liye you need people to have access to education, opportunity. Two things. If they have access to these two things, if they can talk to the people who are doing different things, if they can learn from those people, that's when they can figure out for themselves what it is that they want to do. Right? And second thing, that's the first step, right? Second step is how do you, as a collective, like species, how do you incentivize or how do you ensure that someone is able to pursue that? What if like my life, like goal in life is to, I don't know, like keep making handmade furniture. Nobody wants handmade furniture. I mean, who knows? It's a very bad example. Like it's a very bad.
No, it is a very good example. It is a very good example, and I'm not kidding, dude. Like, you continue. I'll come back to that. It's a very good example, and I'll tell you from this only. क्या मैं बोलना चाह रहा हूँ? Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, you cannot be limited by what like you must have heard of the long tail effect, right? The internet has democratized access to a lot of things, and niche is now
Yeah.
like prospering as opposed to before
Yeah.
the internet. And
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that over the course of our lifetimes at least, when technology advances even further, this will propagate to different areas in life, not just content,
Yeah.
not just media, but also work. It will become more about, if you want to do research on like a particular fish that lives somewhere deep in the Pacific Ocean, nobody is, like, you shouldn't be like constrained by the fact that a corporation needs to be using this in the next 5 years and should be getting X amount of profit from it to be able
Yes.
to pursue that research, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
the second step is to ensure that everybody's basic needs for sustenance are met,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, that is only possible in a society that is inherently not capitalistic.
नहीं मैंने
So-
ये recently dude
Yeah, guys, don't you
चैतन्य
think we're going
ये-
off like on a tangent
Sorry?
of socialist versus capitalist?
No. I kind of digressed into the whole thing where you remember the foundation, right? The beautiful black little website I made, and essentially I was telling Saurav about it, and I told him ki, like, I thought a lot about this problem, and what he's talking about and what we are talking about today is very similar to that, but at a more realistic scale. Long-term social impact towards a class of people or towards people in general in a society. That's what I was doing. That's what I was trying to do for just a larger scale of people, right? And to do it at the scale of a species, the dynamics change is what I was kind of highlighting to Saurav. To do it at the scale of a species, you need to inherently break free from the capitalistic structure. But to do it in the scale of a country or in the scale of a state or, a city maybe perhaps. Start with a city, then move on to a district and then move on to a state.
Start with your family.
Yeah, maybe that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like, as engineers, I feel we're hardwired to think about scale.
Yeah,
Fuck
bro.
scale. ठीक है, अगर खुद कुछ नहीं उखाड़ पाए तो जो तुम्हारा आइडिया था उसका पीएमएफ तो कभी आने वाला नहीं है ना यार.
He has got a fair point.
Right, so I would break that down into this. मतलब लाइक ठीक है भाई, मेरे पास मेरी कुछ सोच है, ठीक है, मुझे ना ये करना है, फाइन. माइक्रो फाइनेंसिंग फॉर एग्जांपल, यू वांट टू सेल कारपेट्स, go for it, right? Try, see what happens with it. I mean, like, I think so one of the lowest common denominators of this entire argument is that we are not really raised as a very risk-taking society, if that makes sense. Like a majority of us, right? We're like, bhai, let's get a cushy job, 9 to 5 रहेगा, bhai 2 lakh रुपया account में आएगा, मैं खुश हूँ. There are very few people who have the ability to say कि dude यार कल का देखेंगे. Again, that
From
comes from a
privilege.
certain amount
Yeah.
of privilege. I'm not going to
Yeah.
deny that.
Yeah.
Right? But again, we're a function of our society. So are we raising or are we creating that kind of mindset where we can say, dude, let's just take a risk and see. I earn like 2 lakh rupees a month. Let me just spend like 5 to 6K and figure out if this is
Yeah.
something which can happen.
Yeah.
Right? Are we thinking at that scale to even begin with? कि भाई मैं साइड हसल के लिए यार मुझे कंसल्टिंग करनी है, ये करना है, वो करना है, डिजाइन बनाने हैं, फक दैट. भाई मुझे साइड हसल के लिए 2-2 रुपए के जो पेन्स आते हैं, द बिग वंस, राइट, मुझे उसकी रीफिल बनानी है. राइट, थिंक अबाउट समथिंग एज सिंपल एज दैट. इट रिक्वायर्स लाइक 5-6.5K of investment. Can you do something with that?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
this reminds me
Again,
this
low
Bro,
risk, low reward, high risk, high reward.
नहीं इसमें ना मुझे एक चीज याद दिला रहा है पांडे. आई हैव टू थिंग्स टू से. गिव मी 5 minutes. ओके. फिर तुम बताना. This reminds me of the time in like I have 3 points. हाँ. अभी recently, just like before I started speaking to Chaitanya, I found a YouTube shorts. Okay. जिसमें ना एक बंदा था, मालूम नहीं कौन सा बंदा था, but he was like he cold DM'd a psychologist or someone, right? Like who
I
has
know
like
that. I know
20
that,
years.
Yeah, yeah.
Per
You know,
month
like-
वाला ना कि I'll give it to you. Yeah.
So
Pretty cool,
let me tell it out. Like
हाँ.
maybe
Yeah.
people wouldn't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
seen. I've just like before I started speaking to Chaitanya, I watched that video. He, you know, like so he approaches the psychologist who is like 20 years, 25 years ka experience, and he's telling ki, hey, can you answer one question or something in very polite, cool DM way? Ki, how much do you make a month? Okay. So she told me $9,000 something around. And so he was like, I'll give you $9,000 for one day. Okay. And tell me what you learned, like what has been the biggest learnings of humans, that you can tell me. And she takes 1 month to come for that one day to prepare so that he gets the content, the rich content. And you know, I'll tell you one thing, ki, I wrote this, I just shared that shorts in my with my sisters. We have a WhatsApp group. So, and I told ki I had this attitude. Okay. And somewhere me going into a formal job has somewhere softened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And she was like, do you mean you got into your comfort zone? I was like, yes, I did.
Mm.
And it just reminds me of that time, you know, like when I have come like from a very different background, right? Like where I wouldn't have joined an engineering college because I didn't have money to sit for counseling. Okay. After 12th. So I was either I'm going to work or I'm at the grace of 3 lakh rupee given by bank loan for 4 years of my engineering. Okay. So I'm coming from that kind of a background. Okay. And it was hustle only which has got me here to sit down and talk to you people or talk to anyone here. And somewhere getting into formal jobs with even startup has softened that. Okay. That fixed income has softened it. Okay. I don't know how I'm going to fix it in coming time, what I'm going to do, but this is a very observable problem which I have seen in me because I'm an entrepreneurial at very much at heart, but somewhere the powers or superpowers are not there. Then Pandey, coming to your thing, you know, like that refill wala thing. I remember this is in this story is of 2017 or 2018. Okay. At that point of time, I had invested like 2,000 or 3,000 rupees in Bitcoin. Okay. और वो Bitcoin का पैसा, this is my second year of my engineering. Okay. Start हुआ है. Okay. So I have invested like close to, invest तो बोल ही नहीं सकते. I have put 2-3,000 rupees in Bitcoin and वो 1-2 महीने में ना 8-9-10 हजार हो गया semester end तक. Okay. So, but in that semester ना we had data structure का subject. Okay. And वो टीचर ना assignments देता था पागल की तरह. Okay. Assignments इस तरह से रहता था, you have to sit and write. Even if you're copying and writing from anyone, you need to write 20-30 pages of assignment. And it used to be like, fuck, we can't do that. Okay. And suddenly in my mind, it comes ki, what if we create a machine which could write assignments? Okay. And like the semester got over, then I told one of my close friend कि भाई कुछ बताते हैं, और मैंने Google किया writing machine and all that. And even if you Google now also, you will get that CNC वाला machine which writes. Okay. तो मैंने जो बिटकॉइन वाला पैसा था वो निकाला अराउंड 8-9K 10K. ओके. एंड वेंट गॉट प्रिंट, मतलब वो 3D प्रिंट किया, वो
टैक्स भरा उस पे?
उस टाइम नहीं था कुछ भी. उस टाइम कुछ नहीं था. फिर उसका 3D प्रिंटेड पार्ट्स लेकर आए, ओके, बैठकर एक मतलब 2-3 हफ्ते, मतलब मुझे उस टाइम में पाइथन का कोडिंग भी नहीं आता था, ओके, एंड थिंग वो कुछ तो उसका सॉफ्टवेयर था, ओपन सोर्स था, तो उसका फुल लिखा, एंड इट स्टार्टेड राइटिंग एक्चुअली. It could draw, okay, it could draw and it could write, okay, and but प्रॉब्लम क्या हुआ मालूम है कि इट वॉज नॉट स्टेबल. मतलब वो ना थरथराने लगता था, वो प्लास्टिक ना, इट वॉज ऑफ लो ग्रेड, इट इज टू ब्रेक, ओके. बट ऑनेस्टली आई एम टेलिंग यू दैट इज
भाई
वन
की मशीन आईआईटी में काम करती है.
हाँ, क्या क्या
भाई की मशीन आईआईटी में काम करती है. बंदे के हाथ कब कपा रहे लिखते हुए.
like, and I'm like, that is one brag-worthy project I remember, dude. And I really wish like a lot of people tried this, went out there, just created, that had that attitude. तो ये था सेकंड वाला. हाँ, बोल पंडे.
इसमें भाई एक छोटी सी
बता.
चीज है, ठीक है यार. आई हैव अ लॉट ऑफ ओपिनियंस, ठीक है, अब सुननी पड़ेंगी. Yeah, I think so. One of the most fun things we do as engineers, right? After spending like 20 hours, 30 hours, 60 hours, right? Tinkering at a problem is what? कि भाई चल गया. ठीक है. तो JavaScript में लिख रहा है, your first thing is भैंस क्यों लिख रहा हूँ यहाँ? मुझे नहीं लिखना चाहिए. Right. But ultimately your point is what? कि dude, the satisfaction.
Yeah. कल ही मैंने ये ट्वीट डाला, 6 hours of fixing one React Native issue is equal to 24 hours. I was done for the day. I was like 6 घंटा बैठकर मैंने एक इश्यू सॉल्व किया है भाई. Okay. ऐसा लगा पूरा दिन मेरा खत्म.
I mean, like React Native is what like native programming would have been if SBI created it.
Just shitting left, right, and center on technology.
Fuck. Yeah.
I'm not even kidding, dude.
ये YouTube शॉर्ट पे डालूंगा काट कर.
डाल भाई. Like
ये वायरल.
It is just.
वायरल करना है.
It's terrible.
It's terrible. I hate it.
Like भाई, like जानते हो जब तुम ना दूर से देखते हो इतना सुंदर लगता है, but when you start writing it's like such a disappointment. It's like dating a black guy with an Asian penis.
ये काटना है और ये कहीं नहीं डालना है, ठीक है. ये काटना है. मेरा चेहरा है इसमें रिकॉर्डिंग में. आई कैन नॉट बी सीन विद सच कंटेंट.
Dude, did anyone work with something called Appcelerator?
No.
नहीं भाई, तुम्हारा कैमरा ऑफ हो गया.
Titanium Studio.
कैमरा ऑफ हो
सौरभ
गया.
तेरा कैमरा ऑफ हो गया भाई.
नहीं, दोनों का चल रहा है मतलब.
हाँ, हम
ठीक
दोनों
है,
का चल रहा है.
ठीक है, ओके, कूल.
या लाइक उस वक्त था कि यार कुछ लाइक बहुत नेटिव बनाते हैं, सुंदर रहेगा, मजा आएगा, जावास्क्रिप्ट में लिखेंगे ये वो एंड आई थिंक सो द पाइनियर ऑफ दैट वाज Xamarin.
Oh damn.
हाँ,
मैं स्टूडेंट था. $260 नहीं थे मेरे पास देने के साल के, राइट. तो मैं क्रैक ढूंढने की कोशिश करता था, बट आज तक मुझे कोई क्रैक मिला नहीं उसका. माइक्रोसॉफ्ट बॉट Xamarin सेट फ्री में बना. And by then, .NET had become like so ancient that no one wanted to touch it with a 6-foot pole. Again, I'm not shitting on engineers who work with .NET. Personal opinion, but yeah.
Bro.
Anyhow, coming to the third perspective you were saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Third thing was कि ये जो फर्नीचर वाला बात बोला ना चैतन्य, that reminded me of this thing I wrote on Twitter. So this is a very good guy called Deepak. He is into real estate, creates beautiful villas, and I followed him because I thought कि वो 3D printed homes बनाएगा. मैं उसको push कर रहा हूँ, बना. Okay, ये तो मैं करता हूँ.
Bro, मैं 3D printing से यहाँ पे dildos बनाने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ, बंदा घर बना रहा है भाई.
Yeah, I'm pushing him to try it out, but yeah. So he had tweeted this: if everyone in this world were equal and no one has to earn for a living and gets that liberty to choose what kind of work they wanted to, what would you choose? ठीक है. तो इसने ये लिखा होगा. तो I wrote, मतलब certain things. Okay, recently I have been watching Four Eyes. Four Eyes कर एक चैनल है YouTube पे जहाँ पे वो सिर्फ कारपेंट्री करता है. And it's so soul satisfying, you know, like it's so satisfying video. Okay, and he understood कि लोग को क्या पसंद है. Okay, and उसको क्या पसंद है. And उस दोनों का बीच का रास्ता उसने चुना. Okay,
भाई
So,
को प्रोडक्ट
you know,
मार्केट
like-
फिट मिल गया.
वही. Okay, so I wrote this recently. I've been watching Four Eyes YouTube videos where he does carpentry and build stuff, very limited stuff, one piece a month. He works only on one piece a month, taking own sweet time doing videography and live commentary of it, sharing his running thoughts, emotions and stories. तो वो कहानी बोलते रहता बंदा. ओके, वो पहले वो कारपेंट्री करता एंड ही टेल्स स्टोरीज. ओके, आई फील दिस इज वेरी क्लोज टू द फ्यूचर ऑफ वर्क which humans will do will be rooted to what makes them happy, feel more emotions, help meet similar kind of humans. They need not be very good at it also. Be okay being vulnerable than for money. Money would come for them, come to them. Emotion, stories, and experience would help them get richer than money. In today's world, usually money enables all of them. Once you cross or taste the crust of that money, of what money can make you feel, it's quite shallow chasing it once you have gone at the top. If you can unlock the same thing by doing what you love or living the way you get to experience whatever you wanted, you would be richest. And people who are able to do this even today are already attracting wealth exponentially. In future, more people would be asked to do the same. आज ये हो रहा है. Okay, and it's happening at a very small scale. Okay, what we are talking about. I just feel कि tomorrow this will become a practice. कि इस स्कूल में सिखाना पड़ेगा कि how to find what you're good at, what's your superpower. Okay, ये कॉलेज में enhance होगा कि इससे मतलब जैसे इस बंदे को बोला कि YouTube पे मैं कारपेंट्री करूंगा और इस तरह से बात करूंगा तो people will find it soothing to watch the whole act. Okay, शायद ये कॉलेज में फाइंड आउट होगा. ओके, एंड रियल लाइफ में ही माइट गो एंड एक्सपीरियंस दैट. ओके, एंड डू इट. एंड आई ऑल्सो फील कि व्हेन एनर्जी एंड मनी, एनर्जी इन द सेंस कि द पेट्रोल एंड ऑल दीज थिंग, if we get to a point in coming future where energy is unlimited, right? Like we on Earth we have sun, nuclear fusion. Okay, money will become very less significant. I feel for experiences at least, like traveling won't be an issue. It will be cheap. Moving around from one place to another won't be an issue. It will be cheap. Productions will be cheap. Okay, so everything, the emphasis will become maybe space, maybe something more. Matlab medical science. Okay, all these things will, yeah, a lot of things will go more deeper. Okay, to make things more richer. So yeah, that's all. Like these were the three things. Like जब हम बात कर रहे थे मेरे माइंड में आया. I thought कि हाँ.
No,
यार तो
you know,
इससे एक जो रिलेटेड थॉट.
Monday.
हाँ, सॉरी, गो फॉर इट.
yeah, I mean,
चैतन्य.
yeah, I genuinely feel like two things, just like small things. I genuinely feel like there is, you know, we keep going back to the people who are doing what they love and people who are like essentially also managing to find that convergence between what they love and what can make them money, right? So if we can move that emphasis away from the money is what we were essentially talking about this whole time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the goal is to just be this straight line where it's just about what you
Yeah.
right now it's
Yeah.
like here, somewhere here, and this is more money aspect, you know. And I can see with technology this is pushing
Yeah.
pushing even more. We'll never be there, of course, but it's good to think of a time and it's good to push. That's one thing.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, you know, in the time of sentient AI, I would like to think that this podcast, when recorded and uploaded, would actually help that AI feel and understand a little more about why humans want to work or want to do what they want to do. You know, like this
Yeah.
conversation itself could probably be the tipping point for that AI. Who knows? Yeah, it was just a random thought, but yeah.
I mean,
Pandeyji.
Mm.
yeah,
Do you feel?
I think so. The
Okay, I have the
example you
next
gave of
question
like,
ready. Okay, Pandey,
हाँ,
you
पूछो,
finish your point. I
पूछो.
have a question, open question for all of us. Okay, Pandey, you finish. बता दो.
No, सवाल पूछ.
नहीं तू बता ना क्या बता बोलने वाला था. You
Right.
told कि कुछ opinion.
छोटा सा ये नहीं, like just to add to yours, right? कि
Yeah.
you talked about this carpentry, right? There is this, I mean, like,
Yeah.
this is just like a personal thing. But I had this fixation on horology, which is like a very fancy of saying, यार मुझे ना घड़ियां पसंद है. ठीक है? Not in a sexual way, of course. I mean, hopefully not. But more in like a mechanical way. Ki there's this fantastic YouTuber, I think so. I would highly recommend you guys to watch him, called Wristwatch Revival. And what he does is he takes like these really old timepieces and he fucking fixes them essentially. And I was looking at some of the equipment he uses and it's not cheap. Right. So then we come back to that same argument. How happy does money make you? Like, do you need money in the first place to figure out that kind of fit where what you're doing generates
do.
you money and people like it, right? At the same time, you enjoy it.
Yeah, you definitely
Right, so-
need money for that, right?
That's what I had to say.
Yeah. Like, I think we can somewhere end this whole 1 hour ka conversation with this question. I think the question is quite long, might be long or short, but ठीक है. I think we can take this as last question and pick it up some other day. Do you feel like the current mood of the whole Twitter and the world has been, the focus has been ChatGPT and OpenAI? Okay. How are you seeing this AI race pan out? Do you feel threatened? And if yes or no, why? Like, how are you seeing it pan out? And how do you feel like pan out publicly for others and for you personally as well? Both the thoughts. Any one of you.
I think
So this
yeah,
is
go
actually a
for it.
question I was pondering on like a couple of days ago. Again, a
Yeah.
lot of opinions, but the most primordial of that opinion here is that this is the same kind of thought, like you can apply the same kind of thought process essentially to the Industrial Revolution, right? Where factories and machines automated a lot of what was supposed to be done, right? But did they replace human labor? No, right? Why? Because inherently, as sentient beings, we are superior in certain aspects, right? Now, you might be able to train some form of machine to think that way at some time in the future, but at least ChatGPT from where it stands, यार UPSC clear किया नहीं, ठीक है? तो anyway, no Indian family is going to accept it. Point being what है कि I feel at this stage, no, I personally don't feel threatened, right? Because वही होता है कि we are essentially the people who teach robots what to do, right? If they can automate certain aspects of our life, great, and like fucking you're saving us some time. Like we spend like days and hours automating something which could have just taken like 3 minutes to do in the first place. So, do I feel threatened? No. I would like to flip that to the second part you asked was do you feel other people, I think so, might feel threatened or not? They might, definitely, and I would sort of, connect that back with the Industrial Revolution and the entire mechanic of automation which got in the first place, right? Which was that machines will take over human jobs, right? They will take over certain human jobs. I'm not going to deny that, but will it be enough for us to worry about at this stage? No. Right. If there are certain other advancements, now, again, I'm not coming from like a completely apathetic perspective that, you know, some marginally or like some skilled labor is losing their jobs. No. I'm coming from the perspective here, they'll get better training to do something else. They might even sort of handle the kind of machinery which took their job because they understand the intricacies so well. Right? You understand where I'm coming from, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
no, I agree with most of what you said.
Chalayega
It's
kaun
just I.
is my point.
Chalayega kaun. Fair. No, I read this paper back in 2018. The paper is like 5-6 years old now. It's by Nick Bostrom. It's about super intelligence, essentially, and existential threats. So this guy is a philosopher, and he focuses essentially on humanity's existential threats, right? And he put it very simply. Okay, so you have this. Let's say you have an urn, right? And you can't see what's inside. Like, for example, you know for a fact that it's filled with a couple of stuffs. Let's just classify them as white, gray, and black. Okay, white is essentially all things good. Black is essentially all things bad, and bad would be an existential threat that would entirely wipe out the human species, right? And gray is something that could potentially go either way. Cool. Now, what we do as a species is that we keep putting our hand inside the sun and we keep hoping to find white objects, right? We hope to find computers. We hope to find most things are gray inherently, right? But the thing is, when you go in and you push technology so fast, as we have in the last 10-20 years, right? You are rapidly increasing your chances of getting out that black existential threat. And somehow I feel that way about this race towards AI, not towards ChatGPT. Although initially when ChatGPT came out, I was very worried because as a language model that's just predicting the next word in a sequence, it was very accurate for many use cases, right? The fact that it could write Golang code, Rust code, and actually make things work to a certain degree was great. And it was surprisingly scary to me. But the race is the critical part. That's where I see the bigger problem. It's more of the moment. There's a very funny story on this, by the way. I don't know where I read it. Essentially, the moment you reach artificial general intelligence, let's say you have some form of a neural network or something else, even I don't know what artificial general intelligence will look like, but the moment you achieve it, within a couple of hours, it will be smarter than all the human intellect combined. Do you understand how that is? Because it will constantly evolve, right? General intelligence is the process of evolution, and if you give that to a machine, it will evolve much faster because it's not limited by biological constraints of evolution. It is only limited by the amount of petaflops it can get on that hardware, right? And that is what scares me a lot about this race, essentially. Because coming from that NLP background...
It's like the Sharma ji ka beta for AI.
Yeah, essentially. And it's bad because that Sharma ji ka beta for AI, the story continues actually. So I'll just explain the whole story. There's a robot, there's an AI company, and they do a lot of, it's more theoretical research, but they do some practical applied AI stuff. So they build this applied AI thing that just writes handwritten letters. That's all that robot does. Okay? Now what happened, without realizing it, that the AI was so good, the AI they developed for that handwritten letter writing bot was so good that it became AGI. Assuming it happens, possible, probably reinforcement learning and haptic feedback is the way to AGI. Nobody knows, right? So that happens. and the robot writes on a piece of paper, can you connect me to the internet so that I can look at pictures of handwritten letters? Right? The engineers are thinking, well, it's just a handwriting, it's just a robot that writes letters, right? It cannot possibly do anything. So they connected to the internet for like 5 minutes. It downloads some pictures of handwritten, for text and stuff, and then they disconnected. 1 week later, the entire human species dies at the same time. How? Because if you have developed AGI, because the whole premise is if an artificial general intelligence has one singular goal, and that is to write handwritten letters, it will perfect it, right, as much as possible. And if it's artificially generally intelligent, it will realize that in my goal there is a obstruction, which is human beings. They might disconnect me, they might repurpose me, they might do something, I might get broken. I need to ensure my survival. The moment you are sentient, your survival instincts kick in, right?
Yeah.
And that's when that evolution could go wrong. So another big aspect of in this race for AGI is actually getting the right loss function. Like, what is your cost for the AI? Like, what is your goal? Is it to make there was a better example. Like, if the robot had a goal of making all human beings happy, it would essentially build the matrix and just keep feeding your brain like some dopamine. It'd figure it out, and everyone would just be a vegetable basically lying, and their brain would be artificially simulated by the robot. Getting it right? So essentially,
People
we
with
need to be very
ADHD
careful.
strongly agree.
Yeah, the representation is strong, bro. That's what. And this whole thing about AI is actually pretty scary to me personally. So
Okay.
yeah, I hope it pans
Nice.
out better than my worst fear.
Yeah. From all of yeah, I have a very mixed opinion. Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, I feel कि मतलब the Chaitanya you spoke about, right? Like right now, when you this has been a report, okay? Like this has मतलब Reddit पे जाकर just check out ChatGPT का chats, okay, of Bing, and the Bing chat has started becoming angry, started becoming annoyed, started throwing tantrums, okay? Ki, why aren't you talking to me like this? And why are you persisting like this? Like it's actually making it feel ki it is getting affected by emotions, okay, somehow. And there is a whole video of Cold Fusion channel, okay, where I watched, and that really showed ki I was like, fuck man, what is this shit? So I totally agree with that. And there is another story which my sister talks about. She read this book by I don't remember, and the book was written, it's only on robots. The stories are on robots, okay. It was written in 80s or 90s, okay. It is a quite old book. She talks about a story where a microwave gets an intelligence, okay, and suddenly starts talking, and actually it craves for humans' presence, and it actually it just doesn't learn the good things, but it also learns the bad things of humans, okay, the negative qualities, okay. Yeah, and honestly, I'm speaking ki when people are sharing things online, which is when they are sharing it now, they're not mostly sharing in the happiest of happiest moment. They are not actually sharing it publicly. It's just ki they are doing it privately and they're happy with it. But the negative things, whatever is happening, the trolls which is happening, the abuses which is happening, the negative experience they're happening, the reviews they're happening, it's all public. Okay, so the
Yeah.
data out there today is
Inherently skewed.
fairly negative and this thing. And also in that Cold Fusion ka video, he talks about being left wing or right wing. Okay, and now to operate as a society, we need both the side, right? Like we need all the opinions to be shown. But fairly the AI is left wing, okay, and it wants to show progress and things like that. And on many issues, it takes a left wing approach. So like these are the elements which are somewhere scary in some ways, okay, that like if human starts indulging in them a lot, okay, it's only going to get to that point of intelligence very quickly. I also feel honestly that OpenAI needs to be open first. It can't be closed. Like literally, it is a Microsoft-owned product. Okay, like the word OpenAI with which what they started. Okay, their research and all is public, but it's not open.
Their research is not
Privately
public.
held.
The
It
research is
isn't.
not public.
Apparently, okay. So whatever it was, like they need, this is a very fundamental, integral part of internet. The reason why internet was open source, and it still has been, okay. And I feel that this leap of technology needs to be open source, and it needs to be transparent. It can't be, it can't be behind the doors. It can't be privately held. Okay, and somewhere that capitalistic side kicks in, that no, we want to maximize the profit, now Microsoft wants to like take away the whole market share of Google and all that shit. Okay, but it makes sense on the capitalist front, but honestly from technological point of view, I want it to be open source. I want everyone to train their own model, create their own robots and things like that, but still we need a single source of truth, and which needs to be completely public. I strongly believe that should be the way for it to operate and work. The other side is, do I feel threatened? I honestly don't. I feel that I'm fairly agile human, and I am open to changing my profession even 10 years down the line or 20 years down the line, and it could be completely something very different. Okay, and I'm sure that I think that this mindset of changing your profession, not be stuck on your life shouldn't become your profession, is very important. And this wave of AI is only here to teach us that you need to start thinking outside, and you need to be agile, you need to be flexible, you need to be adaptable. And who are not able to do that is going to feel threatened. It's going to scare them. It's going to take away their job. The people who have this adaptability wala mindset, now maybe they will lose one job, but the next job they get into, they know how to play it fair. Okay, how to play it in their advantage and what they bring to the table. Okay, and where AI can't do shit and other people can't do shit. So I think this is how I am seeing this AI race. Okay, and I really want something to be open source in AI, dude. It can't be like this actually, that you are paying $40 per month, like to use the chatbot. No, it can't be that way. I really think I'm sure something open source is going to come up. Like recently only I have seen a news that Elon Musk wants to build an OpenAI, which is actually
that's
saw
all
that.
just a sham, I'll tell you, to be honest. To be very, like, to give you a layer of nuance, right? Even if I open source the code, it's not very hard to recreate the ChatGPT code. Like, I don't know, I don't know what
No, but
exactly
to
they've
get
done,
you.
but essentially it is a decoder only. Decoder only transformer, right? It just predicts the next word in a given sequence. The essential part of democratizing AI would be to give access to compute and data, because that's what today's AI thrives on. And even if you open source code, even if you open source research, you cannot democratize access to compute and data with the given parameters and constraints that we have. Right? So even if OpenAI open sources their entire code base,
more than compute, right? Like I feel that more than compute, data is quite important.
both are
Intelligence,
equally
then
important
data,
in my
then
opinion.
no, compute is somewhere I see tomorrow. If we are going to go towards unlimited energy at any point of time, compute is going to be very cheap. today compute is expensive. You need to pay for it because anyone has to pay for it. I don't think there is a compromise there because
just like I'll tell you something.
Yeah.
The AI convergence
Yeah.
will be much, much sooner than infinite energy. Nuclear fusion is decades away. A Dyson sphere is probably centuries away. But AI will be in our lifetimes. For sure. Like, I can guarantee that. And it is
it's already
like that's what scares me more about this race, you know, because there's so many smart people out there getting paid millions of dollars a year with almost unlimited resources to throw at this problem. They will figure it out. And 30 years is a long time. A lot of smart people, a lot of experience, a lot of technical brilliance. So that's what I'm most scared about.
Pandey ji, any closing comments?
I mean, yeah, I don't know enough about AI to comment. I haven't really been following the entire space as much. So my thoughts will be like very upar se, which I feel won't really add to this conversation.
मेरा भी वही है. Like that's what mine is. Yeah.
No, I finally felt like I would contribute to the conversation. That's why I spoke so much. Because engineering
You
and
did
all,
do it,
what
you
will I
did,
say
right?
to Panchayat, bro?
भाई
सही है. Was it fun?
अपने परवाजों से इतना थक मत जाना, अभी तो पूरा आसमान बाकी है.
Wow, wow.
अरे वाह.
I think we've reached like 87
guys,
minutes.
I actually have to drop off. Yeah,
Don't worry, we're all dropping off.
now.
ठीक है. No, was it fun? Was it fun?
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
But
It was a lot of
मजा
fun.
आया ना
No
पंडित?
doubt.
no doubt.
नहीं,
गोवा
मजा
से
तो बहुत
बेटर ना?
आया. गोवा से
We
भाई
should have
बहुत
probably
ज्यादा
stopped
better.
recording.
ठीक है.
I'm going to stop recording right now.
No.
लॉल.
Oh man.
ओके पांडे जी प्रीमियर
ठीक है,
प्रो का
thank you
इस्तेमाल
guys.
कीजिएगा, ठीक है? हमें
Thank you,
एडिटेड
thank you.
क्लिप चाहिए.
नहीं इसमें खुद है. इसमें it's there. I am going to download each one of them and I'll
भाई
share it.
अपलोड करके भेज दो
Thank
आप
you.
प्लीज.
Wait, let me put the closing comment. No.
Yes,
Thank you,
yes.
thank you.
भेज दे, I'll edit it
चलो.
out.
Okay, we are ending this.
Hmm.
Yeah. Bye bye. Bye.
चलो. See you. All right.